Jason Ronald hints here that the Xbox console hardware is not under threat, which is nothing new, but I feel like that point continuously needs to be made, as you do see a lot of people questioning what the future of Xbox hardware is. We do have some rumors here and some more information about where Xbox was potentially going back in 2021, where instead of going away, they decided to purchase up some more studios. There's some layoffs at Microsoft, some small layoffs across several divisions in the gaming division, as well as other places in the company. Console sales overall are way down. We have more information on Tencent and Ubisoft, and potentially what the deal that they are working on, because we do know Ubisoft right now is looking at every single opportunity, every single avenue to keep Ubisoft going. And obviously Assassin's Creed Shadows is going to be a major release for them. So some interesting stuff there. Then we have some more information on Guerrilla Games, Horizon, the Decima Engine, all of that stuff. So we'll get into all that. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit the subscribe, share the video, like the video, all that stuff, and let's jump right into it. So obviously consoles across the industry, I think consoles, we are getting to a point where they are potentially going to be going away. Not next generation, maybe not the generation after that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see it fall off after the next generation. But consoles are becoming less and less important to determining who is winning in the gaming industry. We're seeing every company expand out to more places to play games, I guess, aside from Nintendo as of right now, but maybe they will dabble into that a little bit into the future, maybe putting some more games, obviously, who knows. But PlayStation and Xbox are definitely moving out, putting their games in more spots and needing to open up who can access their titles. Xbox doing it more than PlayStation, obviously with putting games on PlayStation 5, and this has a lot of people questioning, what's the point of buying an Xbox console? Will there be hardware in the future? And even though we know there will be hardware in the future, Jason Ronald here seems very reassured here. I mean, he is the VP of the next gen, so that pretty much tells you all you need to know about whether there will be hardware in the future or not for Xbox. But he seems even more reassured here, or reassuring to people, by liking a tweet that talks about the Xbox hardware and where Xbox is going. It says here, Microsoft's VP of next gen seems to think that the Xbox console hardware isn't under threat. This was a tweet here by Deadly Headley on X, and it says here that the Xbox console hardware isn't under threat. It's just not the only method of play that Microsoft is interested in. And Jason Ronald goes ahead and he does like that tweet. This falls all in line of basically what they have been telling us now for a while. I mean, if you have been paying attention, yes, you can get up in arms and look at what they're doing in terms of where they're putting their games. If you're somebody who's deadly against that, I guess no pun intended to the X name, but if you are against that, you're going to be questioning, well, what does this mean for the future of the Xbox console if you think it is a losing strategy? If you're on the other side, like I am, who, one, I don't care if other people get to play games that I get to play, but I just think it's the way that the industry is going, and it is probably the smart business move when you're looking at the rising cost of development for these games, and sustainability is a major question here when games are costing hundreds and hundreds of $millions to make. The console hardware market has basically stagnated. These companies are selling their consoles to the same people, and the younger generations don't care about the console wars. They don't care about this whole thing that has been going on for people of my generation since the beginning of consoles. They just want to play their games on whatever device they have. A lot of them just like to play it on their phone. They like to play Fortnite. They play the same games over and over again. And how do you combat that? Is by putting your games in more places for more people to play these games. So we know that the console market is changing, and Jason Ronald, he was at CES, he was talking about how Xbox is going to be going more to PC, bringing Xbox to PC or bringing Xbox to other devices, basically taking your current Xbox console, your content there, and accessing it in other places. And he also likes this tweet, which it points more towards that we should be hearing more about the future of the Xbox ecosystem and hardware in 2025. He did mention that we will be hearing more. So this year will be very interesting to see the direction that they do take. We know more games are coming to PlayStation 5. How many? There's tons of rumors out there. You get to believe what you want to believe, or you can disbelieve whatever you want to disbelieve. But at the end of the day, this is a strategy I think is going to be taking over. And then you look at PlayStation as well, and they're going to be making a lot of moves like this as well. I think PC is going to be a major part of them, and maybe even the Nintendo Switch too. Who knows what that does for bringing more games from Xbox and even PlayStation onto that hardware, which should be being announced today, which will be very, very exciting. So if you're wondering if there's going to be an next Xbox console, there will be. What's that going to look like? That is still the question that we do have. I think handheld at-home console made by Xbox, and then we're going to have other manufacturers getting in the mix as well as they license out the Xbox UI. That is kind of my prediction going forward, similar to what I think Steam is doing. If you look at SteamOS and what they did with the Steam Deck, and now they're licensing out SteamOS to other manufacturers. All right. Now let's talk about Xbox again. Well, I mean, it's kind of the same topic, but people always thought that maybe the Xbox One was the end of Xbox because of how poor of a generation that was, where it started off very poorly with the original announcement, and there were rumors that potentially they would be going away during the Xbox One generation. That seemingly has never ended, because every week there's a new Xbox is dead rumor, which again makes absolutely no sense. But instead of Xbox going away, they actually decided to buy more studios, which Bethesda in 2021, if you do remember that. This comes from the outlet The Information, claiming Microsoft thought about winding down its Xbox gaming business back in 2021. And here is the quote from that article. In 2021, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella faced a choice involving the company's Xbox and cloud gaming business. The company could either acquire major game studios to drive more subscriptions to its nascent Game Pass subscription service, or it could wind down its games business entirely. Nadella told two people at that time. Nadella took the path of acquiring the Elder Scrolls maker Bethesda Studios for $7 billion in 2021. And then, of course, Call of Duty Activision Blizzard for $75.4 billion in the fall of 2023. So maybe they were actually at that fork in the road. I could kind of see that happening at a major company like Microsoft. The reality of the situation is Xbox is Microsoft. They're under Microsoft. And they've always kind of been that child that no one really paid attention to. But now they're so big, they have like their own division. They report their own earnings, all of that type of stuff. And it gets a lot of looks whenever the financial reports do come out because of how much money is bringing in. This really happened after the ABK acquisition. But I could definitely see Microsoft looking at their financials and saying, if we're losing money on this gaming division, would it just be better to just cut that thing off completely and make it a legacy thing here that they don't really support anymore? Clearly, they did not decide to do that. They saw the future of gaming, how it could grow and how it was growing and how big the market was, and went in the complete opposite direction. So this is why it's kind of funny whenever you hear people saying Xbox is dead. They are just making up a false narrative based off of old console wars on the old way that the industry kind of was functioning. And you look at Xbox now, and they're a huge player, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, in terms of a publisher in the world. Xbox is healthier than they have ever been, especially when you see the amount of money they take in now when they have added ABK. And I guess that could go against a lot of people when they see them putting games in other places, but it's just the fact that they have to continue to increase their revenues. It's all about those financial reports and the shareholders, unfortunately, when it comes to these major publicly traded companies like Microsoft, which is one of the richest in the entire world. But they took the direction of keeping Xbox alive, and I think it's going to be paying off for gamers. I think it's going to be paying off for Xbox in major ways, especially as we go into 2025. It could be one of the biggest years in Xbox history. Now, with all of that being said, there are layoffs across the industry. Xbox has had their share of layoffs. PlayStation has had theirs. Many developers out there have had huge layoffs, studio closures, game cancellations. And there are some more here at Microsoft, and some of them do actually include the gaming division. Apparently, it's just a small amount of layoffs, but still unfortunate, obviously, for the people that did lose their job. But this is according to Business Insider, and they say the cuts will impact employees in the Xbox maker's security, sales, and gaming business. And a spokesperson for the company reportedly said the layoffs were small in number but didn't confirm a figure, and the cuts will affect less than 1% of the employees, which numbered 228,000 at the end of June 2024. So that's what's happening. More layoffs. And of course, there's continuous layoffs in gaming overall. I mean, 2024 was a terrible year for that. And we've seen early in 2025 that it is continuing. We've seen some games that have not been able to be made. We've seen studios disbanded and closed. I mean, we just talked about the Godfall studio yesterday that got disbanded. 2025 could continue along those lines. And again, I say this every time we talk about layoffs. I don't think this is a gaming crisis whatsoever. I think this industry just way overinflated over the last number of years, and they're just kind of coming back down to normal as people are consuming less. We're in the end of this generation, the latter half here, with just maybe a couple of more years. So obviously, console buying, all the stuff is going to go down. And there was just people that got hired for stuff that they didn't need anymore, because less people are purchasing these games, less people are purchasing the content, and they have to make cuts somewhere to continue to be sustainable. It's just unfortunate for all the people that did lose their job or got hired during the pandemic who thought this was going to be forever in the industry. So unfortunate stuff there, but that's just the way I see it in terms of where it is kind of just coming back down to normal. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. Now, as I've talked about, console sales, they are slowing down. They kind of are stagnating, and it is across the board. As of right now, we see European PC and console game sales rose 1% in 2024, but sales of the PS5, the Xbox Series X and S, and the Nintendo Switch dropped 21% in Europe last year. And you do always kind of see this as we get through to the end of the generation, unless maybe there's some crazy deals here that rejuvenate the sales of these consoles. But they say here that specifically in terms of the console sales itself, that hardware side, it was a tough year on the console market. Sales of game consoles were down 21% year on year. PS5 was the best-selling platform across tracked markets, but still fell 20%. The Nintendo Switch sales were down 15%, while the Series X and S dropped a whopping 48% here in the console space. The Series X and S, I have this question. Is it the fact that nobody is buying it? I think obviously there are less sales of the Series X and S comparatively to the PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. That is the obvious answer there. But the other side is, are they producing less units here of the Series X and S comparatively to what they produced in previous years? Is that playing in at all in stock and everything? I've seen stuff where stock is low. Like, for example, even on Amazon here in Canada, the Xbox Series X came up and it had low stock for some reason. So you have to think, are they kind of starting to wind down this generation to get us looking forward to whatever they have coming next, whether that's the handheld, whether that is different types of Xbox consoles, or just their at-home console for the next generation? But either way, console sales are going to be on the downturn here, I think, for the next number of years as we start to prepare for the next gen, and then also start to prepare here for Nintendo side, potentially today, for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, Tencent, Ubisoft, we've been hearing there's something going on in the works there, and we do have some more information, pretty interesting as to potentially what could be happening here between Ubisoft and Tencent. And it's a new report revealing that Tencent Holdings and the Guillemot family are trying to piece together a new venture built on a foundation of Ubisoft assets. Now, this is via Bloomberg, which an article that has been paywalled, reporting that consideration of creating a new venture would enable the Guillemot family to retain control of Ubisoft while giving Tencent more control over some of its assets under the new venture. That is one of the main things we did hear about what is holding back right now any sort of deal being made. Guillemot family still wants to be in control of Ubisoft. They still want to have decision making and all that stuff. And a lot of people look at that and say, they suck, get out of here. But I can look at it and say, I understand that. I mean, it is their baby. They built this thing up from the ground up. It's going to be very hard psychologically to just relinquish it to a company like Tencent. So I feel like they're working on something, as they say here, where they're still going to have major decision-making powers. And Ubisoft, to be honest, it was very good for a long time. It was a pillar in the industry. It's been bad managerially, I would say, for the last number of years. We've seen so many reports just come out about some bad stuff happening at Ubisoft. That needs to all be fixed up. But they need to bring this company back to prominence because they have so many good IPs and so many games. And they bring Splinter Cell back, please. Like, I don't know what they are waiting for that. Bring another Rayman, all that kind of stuff. Now, it does continue here that they're currently evaluating its assets to determine what could be moved to the new venture. So, as already outlined by Ubisoft on January 9th, the company has appointed advisors and to review and pursue various options to boost value. So, I think basically what they are doing here is looking at what IPs, what games they would give to Tencent to be able, I guess, to go make games without the Guillemot family's decision making at the very end of the day for those games. I wonder what they would choose because, again, they have so many IPs. But you look at the games that are currently in development that are set to be released by the end of 2026. They still have a huge slate of games coming. That sounds very fun. I mean, Far Cry 7, I'm a Far Cry fan, so that's cool. Assassin's Creed Shadows, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Remake, Assassin's Creed Hex, Ghost Recon Over, the Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time Remake, and then other projects that we've heard about, like the Division 3 and the Rayman Remake, which would be really cool to see. And then we're still wondering what's going on here with Beyond Good and Evil 2. They say it's still progressing. That game has been in development forever. So I wonder what this type of deal would mean. how many assets would be in control of Tencent, how many assets would be in control of the Guillemot family, where they have a say on the final, or just kind of what they would come up to make this deal, to make Ubisoft still exist and be sustainable for the future going forward. All right. Now, when it comes to PlayStation, they have the Decima Engine, which is a very good engine, and we got everything debunked when Death Stranding landed on Xbox, that basically you couldn't have the Decima Engine on anything but a PlayStation. That's obviously not true. And Guerrilla Games here is looking to take the Decima Engine and ship it out to their other studios and have other PlayStation studios use it, which I think is a smart move. If you're looking to keep unique looking games and all of your proprietary tech in-house, let other studios use it so they don't have to go out and use something else, like potentially like Unreal Engine 5. With something I've thought about even with Halo, with when they decided they're moving to UE5s, I'm like, why don't they just try id Tech? But then it's probably because contractors and outside agencies don't use id Tech. They want to be able to hire easily and fast. That's why they moved to Unreal Engine 5. But PlayStation potentially is going to be doing the internal engine thing here. So it says the Decima Engine, the game engine developed by Guerrilla Games that powers the Horizon series as well as the original Death Stranding, and its upcoming sequel could be used by other PlayStation Studio titles in the future, according to some recent findings. This was spotted by Twisted Voxel, and the Guerrilla Games senior producer Astrid Huntjens is listing on LinkedIn. And in this post, in their LinkedIn post, they are saying here that they are going to be working on communications and management with Sony studios interested in or using the Decima Engine, essentially confirming how Guerrilla has already expanded the support it can provide to other studios. So they may be taking Decima, they may be giving it to other studios. I mean, Horizon is a beautiful looking game and it runs well on lower end hardware. I mean, they've released Horizon on the PS4, looked beautiful there, looks great on the PlayStation 5. So it does scale well. I could definitely see this happening where more studios want to make games. They want to have engines that work well, that can be optimized correctly. That on PlayStation, obviously specifically, Decima Engine could be the solution to that. And Guerrilla Games is also working on a multiplayer game. And they need a multiplayer game. They need games as a service. PlayStation does specifically. We saw Concord fail, $400 million plus failure. They've canceled some other games that people are scratching their heads, like Twisted Metal and The Last of Us multiplayer stuff. They need something multiplayer, something to bring more players in that play long period of time there. They could do the microtransaction thing. They could just have inflowing money to support their huge budget, cinematic, third-person style games. The Horizon multiplayer game is going to be huge for them. This thing needs to do well. We know that they are making it. We know that it is coming. And they are looking here, they say, to bring over 1 million players to the Horizon multiplayer title. This is spotted here by Game Rant, a new job listing for senior platform engineer at Guerrilla Games online infrastructure team has seemingly provided new details about the upcoming online multiplayer title based in the Horizon universe. And one of the requirements for this position is for the applicant to have experience building and operating multi-service 1 million plus user globally distributed systems across multiple public cloud providers. So a lot of info there. They are really looking to make this thing massive. This is going to be probably like sounding like an MMO style of thing where they're going to create this living world and you're going to be able to spend hours and hours and your life on this game itself. And this game was confirmed in 2022, saying that a new internal team is developing a separate online project set to in the Horizon universe, but there's been no official announcement about this. The Horizon universe, to me, I'm not a huge fan of it. I actually found the first game boring. I've tried playing it like 3 times, but a lot of people love it. You've seen Guerrilla basically double down on this game, now triple down on it here with multiplayer and an online world that they are trying to bring. So they're looking at their analytics, probably they're looking at the numbers of the amount of people that played the Rise games and think that they could take that and expand it out to more people and get people basically living in this online world where it'll keep them away from playing other multiplayer games. It'll keep them from spending time on other platforms, and then they'll be spending all their time and money in the Horizon universe. And they kind of do need this to support, again, all of their really expensive cinematic third-person games. They need a multiplayer games as a service game to hit. They've been trying to expand out more. It hasn't been successful. One thing I do question with Sony is they have so many great IPs in their back catalog that could easily translate into multiplayer. Even if they're not the biggest multiplayer games in the world, they could have some other projects here where people do end up enjoying and playing them. They're trying to do something and hit it out of the park here like Marvel Rivals did, but so we'll see how successful they are. But if this one fails, that's going to be very interesting to see how PlayStation does recover from something like that. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.